Interested in buying a Kia Telluride? Well, get ready for recall notices and service campaigns. This is my 2022 Kia Telluride, and I've had it for over 2 years now, and there have been quite a few recalls and issues I've had with the vehicle. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Within 6 months of ownership, I got a recall notice from Kia saying the forward collision warning system needed to be recalibrated. That was the first issue. Then a few months later, I got a recall notice for the tow hitch, and apparently it's affecting these Kia Tellurides with the 4-pin tow hitch. Mine doesn't have a 4-pin adapter, so my car isn't affected, but the ones with the 4-pin adapters, some of the Kia Tellurides have caught on fire as a result. So even though my car hasn't had an issue, it's not a good look for Kia. The next notice I got from Kia, I believe, was a voluntary service notice, and it was for the drive belt over here. So apparently there was a defect with some of the Kia Tellurides and the drive belts. My car, every time it's cold and I start up the car, the drive belt always squeals. However, I haven't had any issues. So next time I take the car to Kia, I'm going to have them address that. The next letter I got in the mail from Kia was just a couple months ago, and that was for the wheel speed sensor. It's not a full-on recall, but a voluntary service notice. Essentially, the wheel speed sensor can malfunction, which can make your ABS kicking at low speeds. I haven't felt this on the car, but I guess some people have. And most recently, I did receive a full-on recall notice, and that is for the front and intermediate drive shafts. So there can be a failure with those drive shafts, and essentially when you put the car in park, if you have an issue with the drive shaft, your car can actually roll away. That is a pretty big deal. I haven't had this issue on my car, but I guess some people have. The fix for it is essentially a software update where when you put the car in park, it's going to activate the electronic parking brake, and if there is any issues with your drive shaft, Kia will replace that. So that is a pretty big deal, and one I actually want to bring the vehicle in to get done. Now that wraps it up for the recalls and the voluntary service notices. I've had a couple of other issues with the car though. So talking about the engine here, the very first issue was really oil consumption. So ever since I got the car, about every 1,000 miles, it consumes about half a quart of oil. Now, according to Kia, if it consumes between 0 to 1 quart of oil per 1,000 miles, it's not considered oil consumption. It's just a normal part of operating the vehicle. But in my opinion, an engine should not be burning oil at that rate. So that's annoying because I have to top off the oil, and it's just something that you don't want to have to think about when you buy a family vehicle like this and you expect reliability. And the most recent issue, and this is actually a really big one, is the engine was overheating yesterday. So my wife was driving home, and after she got off the highway, she was in a little bit of stop and go traffic. The console beeped and it said engine overheating, and sure enough, it was overheating. She brought it home. I tested it out. I started up the engine. I let it idle. The coolant temperature kept going up all the way to near the max, and then when I popped the hood open, sure enough, the fan was not running to actually draw that heat out of the radiators at idle. So that made me think there could be an issue with the thermostat or maybe even the fans itself. However, I started the car up today. I let it run to try to replicate the issue, and sure enough, the issue is gone. I can't replicate it. The fan kicks in at idle and the engine is no longer overheating. So I'm still going to have Kia check this out, though I think it may have been just a momentary issue. We'll see what's going on. I have heard of other Kia Telluride owners running into a similar issue where the dealers in some cases weren't able to actually figure out and find an issue with the vehicle. The final issue I've had with the car is purely cosmetic, and it's with the Nightfall Package trim around the window. So this should be gloss black, but instead it looks like this tarnished bronze color. I'm not the only person who has had these issues. Pretty much anyone with the Nightfall Package has experienced the fading or even peeling of that trim. So it's a bit annoying. You wouldn't expect a 2-year-old car to, have trim that's fading like that. So that just kind of speaks to some of the things Kia overlooked when building the Telluride. So that's been my experience with the Kia Telluride. If you're interested in one, just be aware that there could be these issues. While I really like the way the car looks, the way it drives, and all of the features, I am disappointed in the reliability of the Kia Telluride. Now, when you buy a car like this, you want something probably to haul your family around, and you want it to be dependable. The fact that there are all these service and recall notices makes it pretty inconvenient to own because you have to shuttle the car to the dealership and back, and Kia service isn't great. They most likely will not give you a loaner vehicle, so you're going to be out a family vehicle when this car is in service. And the most recent issue, of course, of the engine overheating just makes me a little afraid to drive this car in the long term. So while I do plan to drive this car for as much as I can for the next several years, after this, would I buy another Kia? I probably will think twice just because of the reliability of it. Well, thanks for watching, Car Fanatics. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments or questions below, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you're notified each time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching.